you know, if I didn't have that fear for God, I would be a terrible person.
For most people, like, it's easy for them to quit. Like any of your regular people going to the gym, things don't happen as fast as they want. Like,
Yeah.
you're sitting there in your butt off, going from 212, not a
Yeah.
place where you want, finally getting to open, still
Yeah.
not a place where you should be, proving it, and then you could have easily quit enough times. Where's your what keeps you from quitting? What keeps you
There
from
was.
actually committing to quitting?
Yeah. That was like I said, like I believe, like, you know, I believe in God. Understand?
Yeah,
I'm a, you know, religious person. I'm also very spiritual as well. You know,
yeah.
so when things go, like I did 3 shows in the 2-on-2 class, and every time with the meet and greet, they put my name on the wrong list. Every time, all the 3 times, they put my name in the open class instead of the 2-on-2 class.
I'm trying to tell you something.
Yes, and this happened the same thing in 211 with the Auto Classic. They put me in the heavyweight class, and I told them, listen, no, I am under 100 kg. I am 99 kg. I'm supposed to be, you know, in the other class.
Yeah.
You know, and then, yes, and then eventually they put me a class lower, and then yeah, I still got third. You know, so
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, another plan. I've heard, like I said, I've been
that,
studying a lot of the interviews, and take us to, if you want to touch on that. But I remember you were
yeah,
talking about you were sleeping in a car.
yeah,
Things weren't, and this is during your time when you are a pro or you're
yes,
amateur. You're a pro.
yes. I was a pro then, and this was let me think good. This was even before I did my first open professional show.
Yeah, yeah,
So this was after I decided, after the 2-on-2 class, after I decided to switch over to the open class, because every time they put me in the wrong class, you know, and
yeah,
that made me decide to move to the open class as well. And the 2-on-2 class was not my class. I had to suffer, you know,
yeah,
starve
yeah,
to death,
yeah,
you understand, to get to the weight, and I was like, nah, this is too much, you know. So,
yeah,
and but it was around that time, you know, things wasn't going well. Lost my job, you know. I had so much pride, you know. Went to my mom, stayed there for 2 years, longer than I supposed to, you know. Felt
yeah,
embarrassed, so I left, and not even knowing I had no place to go, you know. I left. My friends were my ex-girlfriend told a friend of mine, yeah, you know, the situation, and he came even there, you know, Patrick. He came even there. Yeah, William, come to sleep at my place, but you know, my pride wouldn't let me, you know, because I
yeah,
always believe, like, when something is set for you, everybody can help you, anybody can stick out a hand, you understand, but it will keep coming back until you face it yourself. You understand?
yeah,
Because people are making it easy for you. So I was telling my friend, you know, don't worry, man, I got some place to go, but I was lying. So, you know,
yeah,
because I don't want to have like a handout. You know, I want that, like, I see it like a punishment. I have to go through something, and it's only me, you know, that can stop this. You understand? So
yeah,
once I let people help me out of it, it will just extend, and come back again in my life somewhere. You
yeah,
understand? So I better get rid of it at that moment so I can move on to the next step of life, you know, instead of moving on to the next step of life and still have to face those same, you understand,
yeah, yeah,
obstacles back then, you know. So maybe back then I'm too old and can't even, you understand, you
yeah,
know, take the pressure. So I slept in my car. I was living in my car. One thing, you know, I went to the gym every day. I worked my ass off after my training. I took a wash there, you know, so I was clean every day. And I took, you know, I brought some clean clothes with me, you know, changed there in the gym, and then went back to my car. My old clothes I put in a suitcase, and when it get a lot dirty, I give it to my ex-girlfriend. She wash it for me and she bring it back for me, you know. And I was living off one and a half, like a half of bread with peanut butter and chocolate. Yeah, you know. So that was like what I ate every day. And then at night, the leftovers from my ex-girlfriend, you know, sometimes she brought some for me. You know, I
yeah,
eat there, we sit there, we talk, and then she go back home. Yeah, because me and the parents, we weren't that cool, you know. So
yeah.
yeah, you know, so I was sleeping from places to places, man, from parking place to parking place. You understand? Every time, every day, a different place, you know. So people couldn't notice that I was, you know, yes,
Yeah.
sleeping there in the
Hi.
car.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 And then this was like in the winter time as well. So like late winter time, you know. So one day I woke up and my toes were like frozen, you know, even though I had blanket, you know, my toes was like frozen. I couldn't get them out of each other, you know. And then that day was like my down, yeah, like my down was, you know, I was so down, and I was so embarrassed, you know, understand, to have
Yeah.
to go to, you know, such a, yeah, it's embarrassment, you know, no
Yeah.
money in your pocket. You know, I had like maybe, I think less than 1,000 euro on my account, on my saving account, you know, and I
Yeah.
was living off that each by day, you know, and that was like going down, you know,
Yeah.
each day, you
Yeah.
know. So yeah, I was really living off, I think, less than 5 euro a day, you know.
Wow.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
and then eventually, but on in the meantime, my ex-girlfriend and me, we were looking for a place, like a room to rent, something like that. But yeah, you have to have a job if you want to rent something, you know, because
Yeah.
most people, they want to see some papers, they want to see your work contract, or
Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
at least you have a job. You can show them, like, you know, your pay slip, that they can see that you have a job. So the same day, you know, that I would really want to, yes, like I was so tired, you know, and I felt so embarrassed, so tired, and I was like, you know, I'm better off when I leave this world. You understand? So
Wow.
that was really my down point, you know, and I really wanted, like, you know, take my life. I really wanted to kill myself. Yeah, because
Wow.
I really felt embarrassed, you know. With us, you know, from my culture, we got to deal with a lot of pride. You understand? Especially the Ashanti tribe. There's so much, you know, what I've noticed. There's so much pride. You understand? So, and with through my pride, I got through a lot of problems as well. You know, but it's, you
Yeah.
know, I can't just show it away. It's something
Yeah.
genetics in me, you know. So, yeah, yeah, and that day, you know, I was thinking about my son, you know, and I was thinking about, fuck, you know, like, if I didn't have my son, I probably wouldn't be here today.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So he was like, I didn't like. I was thinking about how would he feel? How would he think about me when I do this? When I, you know, like when I take my life,
Yeah.
how would he think? You understand? How would he think about me? I didn't care what others thought about me,
Yeah.
but I cared what he would have think about me. You understand? Like, oh, my dad was a, you know, this and that. He gave up, and you know, and I didn't want him, you know,
Yeah.
to also like to bring him through that. You know, it's not fine. You understand? When as a kid, you know, your father take his life, you don't want to bring these kids through those drama, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that time I was selfish, you know, and when I was thinking about my son, what he would have think about, I was like, nah, I can't do this, man. You
So
know. Yeah,
so
yeah. So
I was the next thing. I was like, what was the turning point? Like what was that time where you're like, all right, enough. Like I've had it. Like for me, like for example, for me, like when you told us when I would listen to that story, because I've heard like a lot of your story before, but when I heard that one and you having cold feet, when I was in college, I had $500. That's it to my name. I had nothing
yeah,
in college. I was I was eating like my roommates would they would get their food and they would
yeah,
they leave food and they'll get freezer burnt and then like oh shoot and they throw it in the garbage and then
yeah,
when they're out I'll go I get it
get him.
and then I would reheat it up and then I
Yeah,
would cook it really quick and be like yeah you know what I mean get rid of all the evidence of like yeah I bought my groceries and then our
yeah,
house didn't have electricity like it didn't have heat so
yeah.
cold in Canada's cold I'm sitting there waking up in the middle of the night freezing I got
You
a
know it's
little
cold over
heater
there.
on me so like I get it when you were saying how like how embarrassed it was like I've been over my mental health I've been there countless times and I saw when you said that I was getting choked up I'm just like oh
Mhm.
it brought me back I was like I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
I
yeah,
know
yeah.
exactly what you're talking about but what was that point where you're like like enough's enough I had one and that's for my own thing we'll talk about
Mhm.
that on another time but this is all about you what was the turning point in your life where you're like I need to change now and
It was
that's it.
that was that day.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
that day. Yeah, I think it was on a Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, and Sunday is a holy day for us as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's our
Yeah.
rest
Yeah.
day. You
Yeah.
understand? So I think it was on a Sunday. Yeah, and the funny part is, I got a call. I think the next day, Monday, I got a call for the interview. So listen, just imagine if I did what I wanted to do
Yeah.
and took my life, what I have missed. I have now three beautiful sons. Okay, my son I had, but now I got a daughter and a son
Yeah.
again. All the accomplishments that I did with bodybuilding. How many people did I motivate throughout my career?
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So all these things, you understand? I'm like, shit, you know, and yeah, I wouldn't be here. You understand?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the point. Like, listen, this got to change, And then the next day, I said, because that you have to like that thought had to go out of my head. You understand?
Yeah.
I had to get that thought out of my head. So the next day, I got a call for the interview for the job, and that job was like above my head. It
Yeah.
was not from I'm not graduated to do such a job like that. And
Yeah.
out of the about I think 10 or 9 people, they gave the job to me. you
Wow.
know yes, from earning zero, I
Yeah.
was earning about like I think 2,400 euros, so
Yeah.
2,400 euros I think, but then like netto clean, you know
Yeah.
so I was good. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
earning good
Yeah.
from nothing, and just all of a suddenly, so I went there for the interview, and I could start like the week after. So I had to come back like I think 2 times the same
Yeah.
week
Yeah.
after I could start, and the same week, that I could start, we found a room, that I could like a rent room,
Just like
in the
that.
house of a woman. Yeah, so everything was like falling into its places.
Yeah.
So since then, I was like, I'm gonna work my ass off, and I would never go back to that life. I would never, will go back to live in my car again. You understand? And
Yeah.
I would never allow my kids even to go through that.
Yeah.
So 217, when I met my fiance, she had a similar story as mine. She was
Wow.
also
Yeah.
like, yeah, homeless, and still working and still,
Yeah.
sleeping in a car as well. So, we were like soulmates, understand? So we understand each other, and now, we have a beautiful house now,
Yeah.
understand? So
Yeah.
yeah, everything is like falling into its place. So with me, like if I didn't have that patience, I wouldn't be here. And I say it
Yeah.
every time. Even before I had my first son, I got shot when I was 14 years old. You understand?
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah, and even after that, I faced a lot of shit down in the street life. You understand? And I had pointed the gun on my head like several times.
Yeah.
And I'm still here, brother. I'm still here. I'm
Yeah.
still here.
Yeah.
So I knew God had a plan for me. He had a
Yeah.
plan for me. So I just
You got a
just
partner in
didn't
your
knew. I
mom.
just yeah, I didn't knew what at that time. But
Yeah.
now I'm finding it out step by
Now
step.
you know. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely,
So,
definitely.
yeah, that's why I don't know if you remember we for all the guys and viewers out there, me and Will had the same coach at one point, and
Yeah,
I remember as soon as I hired him, I was like, who's this? I was looking at who's his athletes, you know what I'm saying, like blah
yeah,
blah blah, and then I saw you, and I'm like, Will, I'm like, who's this dude? I started looking him up. I'm like, man, that we got similar physique,
yeah,
he's he's spiritual, this and that. I'm like, yo, I gotta message this guy. He's got to have some,
yeah,
I'm the kind of the type of guy that's gonna ask questions. And,
yeah, yeah,
I wanna see how to do things right. And you that day, man, immediately made me feel, like a brother, like something like I belong. You know what I'm saying? And so I've been watching, and we've been able to connect a lot on a personal
yeah,
and spiritual level. And then I'm watching you. I'm like, yo, this guy is just. I'm seeing all the shade. I've seen it all, a
yeah,
couple the last few years. People
yeah,
throwing shade, this and
yeah.
that,
I
and you're
know.
with confidence. Like sitting there, it's like, all right, that's enough, and you just
Yeah,
keep moving forward. And then
yeah,
it's like, people have this thing in their head where, especially when it comes to bodybuilding, if you're not, kissing this person's butt or that
yeah.
person's butt, you're never gonna
Exactly,
make it this place. You're never
exactly.
gonna
Yeah,
place
yeah,
that and that.
yeah,
And I got to watch you basically like, I'm gonna do my own thing, do it right,
yeah,
be real, and then proof's in the pudding right there, right?
yeah.
Like you're on your way, you're well on your way to being Mr. Olympia.
With God's will, brother.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's the coolest thing to see is like at one point, like we were talking about, and we could probably talk for hours. I
Mm,
guarantee we can sit here and talk for hours what you went through, but you're getting shot at one point in your life. You're homeless. You get your pro card. Like,
yeah.
everybody, all those kids out there who are like, I can't wait to get my pro card. I'm gonna
Oh,
get a
it's
sponsorship,
even.
and I'm gonna be. Go
Sorry
ahead,
to
go.
interrupt you. So it's even before that time. I like I was 5 when I went to Holland.
Yeah,
At the age of like 12, my mom sent me back to Ghana because I was like, having trouble on school, almost stabbed somebody. So she brought me back to Ghana because I had court cases at 12
yeah,
years old. So I stayed in Ghana for 1 year, and there I started training, lifting weights. So when I came back, I was 10 times worse. You understand? She thought I changed, but I was 10 times worse. So
Yeah.
when I came back, started with the gang life, and I was a trouble guy. You understand? Even like my mom every day, even yesterday, and my sister even, they look at me, they were like, look what God have done for you now. You understand? They say
Yeah.
I would have never thought that you would be in this position today. You understand?
Yeah.
And I look at them, I'm like, yeah, I know. You understand? So
Yeah.
I know also a lot of friends of mine, who didn't even make it. You understand? So
Yeah.
it was really tough, you understand, but I don't mind. All this stuff made me who I am, and I didn't
Yeah.
even have a childhood because from the age of 15 till I'm like 18, almost 19, I was in juvenile in prison. I
Yeah.
was like property of the state. So my life is only, and in the prison in those times, I was always like, when I was praying, I started reading the Bible, started
Yeah. Yeah.
praying, because before that time, it was because I was raised in a religious family. I
Yeah.
got it with me, but I was against it
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I was like the son of the devil, man. So I was like against everything, yeah, because I found like, because I always had like argument with my mom about the church and this and that, and I
Yeah.
was so
Yeah.
stubborn, you understand? And I didn't, and yes,
Yeah.
but honestly, if I wasn't raised up that way, I would be, I think, I would be like, I think more like a terrible person,
You wouldn't be
because
here.
I'm sure I would be here,
Yeah.
because that was my foundation. That was the only thing that I could be afraid of. That I could like, oh shit, if I do this, I might not wind up in heaven or something like that. Because
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what that's what they planted in
Yeah.
my head. So every
Yeah.
time I did something, I would do it, and then while I'm busy with it, I would start thinking, fuck, nah, man, I can't do this. You understand? But I already
Yeah.
done it half the way. You understand?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so it was really like me believing like what my grandparents told me and my parents told me, with the
Yeah.
religion. If I didn't have that fear for God, I would be a terrible person. That was
Yeah.
my only thought that could calm me down, the fear of
Yeah.
God. you
Yeah.
know that was the
I
only
can,
thing.
yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
can relate. Like I said, my mom's a reverend. My grandfather,
yeah,
he passed. He's a reverend. His father's reverend. So
yeah,
I get, like, I know what you're saying. Like it was almost like, my job to disobey my mom.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
True,
It's like,
true,
oh, God
true.
said this.
Yeah,
Well, why did he say that? Well, I'm gonna do this and see what happens instead.
yeah,
And then, you know, the same thing. But
yeah,
yeah, I mean, like, it's everyone's got their their own coping mechanisms, or what
yeah,
you want to say it. Some people have, whatever, they might have different, exercise they do. Some
yeah,
have faith in religion and whatnot.
yeah,
I'm the same way. I'm a faith driven spiritual guy. Like,
yeah. Me
if I
too.
wasn't scared of
Yeah,
like the devil, like going to hell or whatever, I
yeah,
would,
yeah, yeah,
you know what I mean? Then add my
yeah,
daughter in there.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm staying put. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
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 yeah. It's
yeah.
good to
Yeah,
see that. It's like, yeah, it's like, that's why I wanted. That's why I'd love to have you. That's why I wanted you on there to show, like, you're not from a spoon-fed silver spoon family.
nah,
You weren't a known bodybuilder. You didn't have someone
bro,
that brought you into the
bro.
game and
I
brought you.
was I was even embarrassed that I never brought my friends into my living room ever. Because we had couch with
Yeah,
holes in it and that kind of stuff, and I felt so embarrassed, and that's the reason I started doing, bad things, selling some
yeah, yeah,
stupid stuff, and trying to get some money. Understand? So
yeah,
that's
yeah,
how it started, because I saw like how poor we were, and I saw how hard my mom was struggling and working her ass off, trying to feed us all,
yeah,
So, man, yeah. Bro, in the beginning, man, I can't even remember that we like when we just came to Holland recently, we were eating bread with butter. Just bread with butter. Yeah, bro. Yeah, man. So the struggle has been there always, but it's good because that made
yeah,
us who we are now. You understand?
yeah,
So we don't know
yeah,
better. Yeah.
What's up, guys? I hope you
yeah.
guys are enjoying part two. Stay tuned for part three. Make sure you guys subscribe and like the channel. Also, make sure you hit the notification button so when part three comes out, you're the first ones to get it along with every other video I post. Thanks, guys. Until then, keep dream chasing. Peace.